to run with, and begin to build and our lives, with. Last week, Wednesday, there is a place where we stopped. I've been doing the work, and I said I'm going to take like 4 weeks to work on our minds concerning kingdom economics or kingdom economy, all right, which is we called it the Eden economy, which is the economy that was before the fall, all right. After the fall, then, I'm just wondering, if there was no fall, will there be university? Will there be work or job that you do? All right. So we our mindset is to be able to bring us to the place where everything that we need for our visions and our dream is supplied. All right. And last Wednesday was crazy. I don't know if any one of you went back to listen over and over. You see, some of the challenge we have here, is that you just, don't come to church as a ritual. Make sure, all right. And if you go back to listen to it over and over, that message alone is enough to change your life forever. Forever. All right. And we were able to establish some few things. Last law that we allow ourselves to know is the law of being. And we said that you must become the internal equivalent of the thing that you want to do or to have. You have to understand the order of creation, all right, is be, do, have. You cannot have if you don't do. You cannot do what you are not. It's a be fruitful, do, multiply, have dominion. All right. Anytime you shift or change the order, then you malfunction. All right. The order has to be. All right. The being is an internal work. Okay. So whatever you want to do in this life or have in this life, you can never become it unless you become the internal equivalent of that thing that you want to do or you want to have. All right. All right. So last week we were able to establish that the act of creating your inner world is on you. Look at your neighbor and say, it's on you. Now look at him, Baka Soronko, and say, it's on you. All right. It's on you. And so when you give time in creating the inner world, then you come out of it with some certain things. One of the first major things that you come out of it, you come out with a belief, all right, that is evidence in your certainty, all right. I am certain about some certain things. And the reason is because I took time to create an internal belief. And in this kingdom, the technology that uses to bridge what is already supplied for you, to you, all right, that because you only receive, you don't work for things, all right, is faith, all right. But that belief cannot, unless you intentionally go into that act or work of creation, all right. And when you go into that work of creation, we said that there are about 8 unseen things that begins to happen to you. All right. Your belief will be shifted, your values, your priorities, all right, your knowledge, your skills, your attitude, okay, how you see things, all right, begins to be shifted, okay. And once the inside shifted, get ready, the outside is about to show forth. Because fruit will always respond to the root. All right. So God said that whatever you're looking for, what we're going to do is that we're going to take everything that you're looking for and put it in the inside of you. All right. So he it pleases the Father to give you the kingdom. And the Bible said that, all right, you shall not say, lo, here is the kingdom. No, but the kingdom is within you. All right. Whatever you want, the supply of the kingdom in your life, it can never happen from the outside in. It always happens from the inside out. All right. So you seek first. All right. The seek first, the kingdom is the root. Am I talking here? The word and his righteousness is, and the way God does a thing, his principles and his laws. All right. So you crazily go after. All right. When you begin to get understanding, you are creating a root that no devil can stop the fruit. Am I talking in house of refuge? All right. What is the fruit? And all of these things shall be added unto you. Am I talking here? We also establish that there is nothing, all right, that the earth creates that the earth can solve it. Any problem that emanates from the earth can never be solved, from solution from the earth. That's why the answer to poverty is not in all of the things that here is on earth. Same thing. Panadol cannot heal you. No doctor on earth can heal you. You're not hearing what I'm talking about. All right. It's an illusion. It's a lie. Why? Because anything that begins from the earth, the answer must come from the unseen. Because your world will be changed on the outside from the unseen. What is in the inside of you? Am I talking here? And if Panadol could fix it, Jesus wouldn't have taken the stripe. Come on, put your hands together if you understand what I'm talking about. I said, come on, put your hands together. All right. All right. So the law of being is actually the law of faith. What that means is that you get things before they arrive. In other words, things are substantial to you before they appear. Now, as your pastor, I want to help you. Now you don't have to solicit for information. They just badge on you. Once you're on social media, you take your Facebook, but they don't have to beg you. They're just on your page. I don't know whether I'm the only one. Okay. You go to YouTube, you're trying to go and listen to, and then things just, all right, okay. All right. Now, you have to be very, very, because the world and even the church wrongly is broadcasting something. Anything that you're hearing anoints you, and it positions you. All right, okay. So I heard, it's just a prominent, I don't call, people here prominent, man of God, and sometimes it's just crazy. And this is what he was saying, and of course he said that he has seen, Paul, he has seen all kind of, just hear me, that there is a particular dimension of faith, and I'm wondering what dimension that you can never attain until you have a contact with a man called Kenneth Copeland. All right, that on earth, God, and so if that is true, then the Bible will tell us that faith cometh by meeting Kenneth Copeland. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? All right, and then there are some people on earth that will never, up to the time they die, they will never know a name called Kenneth Copeland. All right. Meanwhile, it is a faith that receives from the kingdom. Am I talking in house of refuge? Come on, put your hands together if you understand what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. So when they begin to talk about the particular dimension, there is no dimension. There is God, and the kingdom is in the inside of you. All right. Okay. So you have to be able to be careful, some of the people that you revert, and because not everything that is said from the pulpit is a kingdom message. Some are informations and opinions of men. Am I talking in house of refuge? All right. And the only thing that will produce in your life is the kingdom of God message. Because the production is in it. I'm going to go deeper again. All right. So the law of being is actually the law of faith. What that means is that you're going to get things before they arrive. All right, things are substantial to you before they appear. Later I'm going to, okay. So what I'm going to do today is just pick up from where we stop. I'm going to say some deep things, today, but you have to get me, However, I believe that what we did last Wednesday is just all right. All right. You have to know that you must use your time to become the person that fits the picture that you want to become. All right. Miles Moreau sang, a song, if you want a brand new world, you got to have a brand new people. If you want a brand new people, you got to have a brand new life. If you want a brand new life, you got to have a brand new spirit. And if you want a brand new spirit, you got to come to Jesus Christ. And then when he continued in the stanzas, he said that a new world doesn't come from the outside. A new world will always come from the inside. Come on, put your hands together. You cannot change a man from the outside. All right. Change will always come from the inside. All right. All right. And that is why he took the kingdom and he put it in the inside of you. All right. If there's anything that you're going to go after, is to enter into the facility. Okay. So dealing with Eden's economy, you have to understand there is an economy before the fall. And you have to be able to tap into it. It is God's economy, kingdom's economy. It's the Eden's economy. All right. And when he put the kingdom in the inside of you, that thing, the deposit has been made. I don't know, the first time I was doing this teaching, I asked a question and I'm going to ask again. How many of you have a dream? Let me see your hand. You have a dream. All right. You have a dream. Not self-aggrandizement. All right. You have an office, a call. You have a dream. You have something that you want to fulfill in this life. Not for you and just your children. No, you want to impact the world. Let me see your hand. All right. Okay. Now, I want you to know that your salary cannot support a God-sized dream. Your salary is too small. It cannot handle it. All right. And that was what I mentioned when I was coming into this town. God told me, take your eyes off your salary. How much of my salary? Okay. You have to understand, anytime you look at your dream and you visualize your dream and you begin to do additional mathematics, calculating a strategy on how you can fund it, then from the get-go, you will miss it. Because there's no addition of your pocketbook or your salary that can fund a God-sized dream, except if it is not a God-sized dream. Let me ask again, because there are some people that don't even understand. How many of you have a God-sized dream? Let me see your hand. All right. If you have a God-sized dream, announcement, your salary cannot support that. The reason is because you are actually trying to work and support God's vision by employing your own account. And your account is too small. If God stepped in your account, it's too small to handle that. All right. The major problem is you have to understand that your account or the money that you're dealing with is actually operating by the failing system of the earth. And the earth is cost. All right. Once you come to the earth has limits and limitation. All right. When you move into time, things atrophy. The grass withers, the flowers. Am I talking here? But there is something that abided forever. All right. Okay. His word, his kingdom. Am I talking here? All right. So what that means also is that your account has a limitation. If the limitation on your money and your account is not broken, the perpetual multiplication will not take place. All right. That's what actually happened with Jesus. You see, the loaves and the fishes have limitation. If I have 5 loaves and 2 fishes, I can give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's limited, it's going to end. So the Bible said that, and Jesus Christ collected it and broke. That's what the Bible says. What that means is that it broke the limitation that the earth system has on it. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? However, you have to understand that that thing has to move from the earth to the kingdom. Because wherever you see Jesus, the kingdom is there. You're not hearing what I'm talking about. You're not hearing about. And the kingdom operates in righteousness. Things that multiply have righteousness attached to it. Whenever righteousness is attached to a thing, it multiplies. You're not hearing what I'm talking about. Okay, so what he had to do was, first, he had to break the system of the limitation of the loaves and the fishes. Immediately it broke, because when things move into his kingdom, get ready. That's why even your resources can get to the place where it perpetuates. And that's why you come to the place where you leave inheritance for your children. Am I talking here? If you're not in the kingdom system, your wealth will have a limitation. Am I talking in house of refuge? There are some of us that what we have put on ground can never exhaust out of our time. Our children cannot finish dealing with it. Our children. Why? Because it has the nature or the stamp of the kingdom of God. Come on, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you got to break the limitations. All right. So your bank account or your salary, has a limit. It's operating on the failing system of the earth. And the failing system of the earth is toil and sweat. We call it sweat equity. By the sweat of your brow. In other words, before the fall, God never mentioned the sweat equity. Before the fall, it's Eden's economy. Things, come on, am I talking here? I say, am I talking here? After the fall, then toil and sweat. And then you hear people say that we are surviving. Now, anytime you work to survive, you're going to survive on what you accomplish. But when you begin to come into the kingdom of God, we don't survive. We thrive. You have to note some certain things. You cannot live to survive and expect to pursue your purpose at the same time. The reason why you're not entering into your dreams and your desire is because you're just struggling. And that's why you hear people say. So even when they come to church or they want to give, okay, so you're struggling for survival, and most of you don't even have time to focus on the God-sized dream. Because all your life is that, kanata farmer. You cannot seek to fulfill God's purpose, listen to me, with your paycheck. Your paycheck will never. That's why when you begin to do, so you kukuma find a way how you can shift and migrate. Your paycheck will never pay for something that God told you to do. 89, I came into a room, first year in university. I hit the bed, fell down. Everything disappeared. I saw a globe, all kinds of oriental buildings, people. And I saw, okay. I didn't understand. During the break, went to Josh, told my elder brother, said, I sense that God is calling you into ministry. Started pushing myself towards it. Coming to 95, when I was about to graduate, 95, 96. I came out, I was walking. I was crossing a road, and I heard a voice. I'm bringing you back into this city to bring glory to my name. A God-sized dream. Okay, so I know I'm called. I know where the ministry, where I'm going to. Okay, so I went to Sokoto, finished, and then came back. A God-sized dream. Started to work. Being paid not up to 11,000. How much of 11,000 that can be gathered for all of you to be here? And for all the things that God has allowed this ministry or this God-sized vision. All right. What I'm trying to say is that your paycheck. All right. So whenever you begin to receive dreams and God is beginning to, call you into your purpose, you meet your purpose, you have to be able to find out a source that you can depend on. That's why the first thing that you must do in this kingdom is that you must become poor. What that means is that stop depending on your money and start depending on the kingdom. Because when you become poor, the Bible said that yours is the kingdom of God. What that means is that the kingdom will begin to supply. So what actually happened is that God put Adam in the garden, remember, on the 6th day. The reason is because the 7th day was a day of rest. All right. So Adam did not begin his first day surviving. No. Adam started his first day rest. So the Bible didn't say on the 7th day Adam and God survived. No. I'm talking about before the fall. Because survival is not in it. If anything and all that you do in this life is to survive, then you cannot fulfill your assignment. How much can it handle you before you begin to do the assignment or the work? And the assignment must not necessarily be holding the microphone. It must not necessarily be church. Okay? How many of you have a God-sized dream? Wave your hand. You know it. All right. I want to give out a law. It's called the law of impact. The law of impact states that you must have an abundance before you can help others at a level that you desire. It's a principle. It's a law of impact. Okay. Most of you, the reason why you cannot step into your God-given dreams is because all that you have is servicing just you. The only time that you must come out from just you, you have to move into abundance. That's why later I'm going to see when we come to 2 Corinthians, when God said that he gives bread and seeds, there is sufficiency and then there is abundance. Sufficiency service you. Abundance allow other people to tap into your dream. Am I talking here? All right. So the law of impact says that you must have an abundance. Question. Is your salary abundance? Now talk to me. Recently, they're fighting. When federal government is saying 48,000, right? Labor are saying 100 and what? Labor are saying 400. Okay, let's talk to the realistic one. Labor are saying 400. No state in Nigeria can function with that. Or is there any state? All the states in this country are indebted. In fact, even the nation Nigeria is in debt. It doesn't even have what it takes. Okay. So let's deal with where we are now. What's the minimum wage? 30,000, 18 or 30? All right. It's 30,000 abundance. How about 100,000? How about 200,000? How about 1 million? It's not abundance. In fact, any money coming from the earth. All right. Okay. So if you cannot break into abundance, then you cannot be able to release your dream at the level that you desire. That's where worry comes. Because anytime you depend on this economy, you can never separate worry from your bank account. That's where you have stress. That's where you have anxiety. That's where fear comes in. What will happen if the landlord comes? Because your paycheck is not in abundance. Okay, so how about if you are in abundance? Let's assume you're in abundance. When you're in abundance, worry is eliminated. Fear is eliminated. So Jesus said that I have an economy that I can take you in. He said, why do you worry? In other words, there's a place that I will bring you in that worry will be a thing of the past. Come on, put your hands together. Come on, put your hands together. Anxiety will be a thing of the past. How many of you want to be in that place? Now, guess what? That thing is in the inside of you. All right. And then what that means is that it is possible to be here on earth and never to experience worry. It's possible. If not, Jesus. Now the genie, no. Jesus says that there is a place, because the will of God will always be done when the kingdom arrives. There is a place. So why do you worry? What will eliminate worry and anxiety? Seek, understand, find out, know how God does a thing based on the kingdom that is in the inside of you. Because that kingdom, all right, now, abundance is a place of no worry. That's the same place where God put Adam. Before the fall, there's no worry. So the only way you can do that or do what God has called you to do is to tap into his superior wealth. However, that superior wealth is around. In fact, it's in the inside of you. The needs around you, when you look at it most often, they are so big. You want to do this, you want to do this, that the only way that can happen or be solved, it has to be a superabounding source available. And it has to be so big enough. And that place is only the kingdom of God. There's no place you can have that kind of, because it is the kingdom that limits are taken off. If it is on the earth, there is a limit on it. No matter how much money you have, if it is on the earth, it always continues to atrophy. There's a limit on it. But if it is in the kingdom, there's no limit on it. It just goes on. Okay, this is where you're going to find access to resources that are far greater than yours. However, you can be in church where things are around you, but you actually don't want to give the time in the creation. Listen to me. You are the sole architect of your internal world. Come on, put your hands together. And your external world cannot respond except because you have to be law of being. You will need this direct access to God's limitless resources, just as Adam had access to it. Adam had access of the tree you shall eat. He had access. In the garden, he has access to wealth. He had access. Everything that you are seeing on earth, innovation, creation, was in the garden. Everything. He had access to limitless. And then the devil came and removed his focus from abundance to limit. And immediately that happened, then something begins to happen. Now, I want to announce to somebody here, whether you know it, whether you want to believe it, is that you were born with a destiny. It might be shaky. You might not understand it. God created you for a purpose. You're not an accident. You're not a midnight cry. No. You don't just arrive. God will never allow you to come if there is no an office, an assignment that he has for you. God doesn't do things like that. When you arrive, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you're vital here on earth. When you arrive, it means you have a real mission from a real God. What that means is that you have a function. When I say a function, it means you have an office. Look at me. You have an office. Look at me again. I say you have an office. Look at me. I say you have an office. You have a function to perform here on this earth. You can die without knowing it. However, knowing it is not on God, because the first thing you need to know first is to meet him. If you don't meet him, then you can never be revealed into what you're supposed to do. There is a purpose in you. And whenever you get it right and you get the right keys, then you are going to begin to unleash the potential that is in the inside of you. Let me announce to you, there's something so big in the inside of you that can supply the whole world. The problem is that it's in the inside of you and it's in potential form. And potential is useless, cannot benefit even you. It cannot do you nothing. The only way potential can work is that potential has to be excavated first. How do I know it's in the inside of you? You see, the same thing that happened to Adam is the same thing that happened to you when you become born again. Later, I'm going to show you here. And then Jesus Christ said that it pleases, just as God gave Adam dominion, it pleases the Father to give you the kingdom. Just as dominion is a gift, salvation is a gift. There is a purpose in you. But you have to get the right keys. If you are pursuing your job only to survive in this life a little longer, then your life has already malfunctioned. Because you are not just here to survive. There is a purpose, there is a destiny. You were never created to survive. Listen to me. God created you to, number one, lead. Number two, govern. Number three, manage. Manage what? Manage the resources. Because the same thing that was given to Adam is the same thing that is given to you. What born again does is that it brings you back to the place of the beginning. That's why Jesus' favorite word is redemption, recreation, repent, regeneration. Re is not a word, it's a prefix. Re is to take something back to its original position. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? Okay, so when you are redeemed or regenerated or reborn, what God did is that, because in fact, for your information, the most perfect book in the Bible is Genesis 1 and 2. After Genesis 1 and 2, all that God is doing is to bring us back to Genesis 1 and 2. All right, so when God said that, let us make man, let them have dominion, the word dominion means to lead, to govern, to manage. Manage what? Manage the resources and then expand them. Manage the resources and then expand them. Look at what Jesus Christ did. Manage, listen to me, manage whose resources? God's. That was what God did to Adam. He gave him the garden. Look at the instruction later. Tend it and keep it. Can you manage it, make it better. All right. Jesus came, called people to one. You did not work for it. 5 talents. To another, 2. Are you hearing what I'm? Let me announce to you, the reason why you are born is not to be chasing after money, but you are created to lead, to govern, and to manage. Manage what? Something that is in the inside of you. God has put it. Come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. Your wealth is in the inside of you. Manage it. Manage it and expand it. So he gave one. Now look. If you refuse to take what he gives you and use it and let it flow in the kingdom's economy, then it will not have multiplication. Guess what? The one with 1 kept it. Earth limit. The one with 5 allows it to flow in God's economy. When it flowed in God's economy, the limit is broken and it multiplies. Listen to me. Everything in your life is supposed to grow if you're in the kingdom. When it multiplies, look, then Jesus returned. Why did he return? Because initially what is given you, though it's not yours. It's given to you to manage it. Listen to me. If you have a chance of getting 1,000, you're not supposed to be broke in life. If in this life you have ever received 1,000, you're not supposed to be poor. If you're poor, it's because you don't know the anointing or the call on you. Because when something comes into your hand, you're supposed to lead that resources. You're supposed to govern that resources. You're supposed to manage and expand. That 1,000 is supposed to become 2,000. The 2,000 is supposed to become 4,000. How many of you in this life 1,000 has entered into your hand? You see, you don't need more money. You don't need more money. God did not design you to chase after money. He designed you, number one, to receive. You see, in this kingdom, we don't run after things. That's why when you miss in a good teaching church, a wrong church will allow you to run after what is already yours. When you're in the kingdom, you don't run. No, you receive. Why will you receive? Because it's already given. Come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. Okay, you receive. Okay, when I come with 5, did you work for it? Did you struggle? Did you sweat? What did you do? Receive. When I come with 2, am I talking here? Okay, so you are not born to run after money. He made you to receive, to capture, and then work on it and deliver it. So when he returned, you gave me 5, 10. You deliver it. And whenever you multiply, more is given. Faithful have a rule over more government. Am I talking in House of Refuge? Listen to me. If 1,000 has ever entered into your hand, you're never supposed to be poor. The truth is that, listen to me, wealth and abundance is in the inside of you. Let me say it again. It's not outside you. If you're poor, it's because you have not created. Because wealth, put your hands in your tummy and say, wealth is in the inside of me. Yeah. Yes. There's something that God did to Adam. That statement is actually deliverance from anything on earth. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. And Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 allow us to see when God made man wealthy. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. All of that, that's not when God made him wealthy. Look at this statement. And let them have dominion. Underline that word. That single word, let them have dominion, made man wealthy. And that single word, dominion, let them have dominion, is the word salvation. That word, let them have dominion, he is saving man, saving you from poverty, from lack, from drug addiction, from starvation. That word, when he said, I'm going to create you, let them have dominion. That word, let them have dominion, is a salvation to him. He's saving man from hunger, from poverty, from drugs, from starvation. He is protecting them from, in fact, the creation of a corrupt government. Because what actually happened that we're struggling with came after this word, when this word was not utilized. In fact, this word was saving man from broken economies, from fluctuating market system. Just the phrase, have dominion. If you're writing, write have dominion. In fact, go and place it big in your room. Because that's a salvation for you. Have dominion. And have dominion has an idea. It has an idea that once you begin to have dominion, then it's going to prevent you from what is happening now. Going to school to seek jobs. Had it been Adam had dominion, there won't be no need for schools. There won't be no need for going to look for application or to look for a job. That have dominion is a prevention from seeking jobs. In fact, from going to school. Because all of your learning is from a fallen system. It can't solve any of your problem. That would have dominion prevents you from careers and random employment so that you can survive. It just is a salvation. It saves you. So when you look at the word dominion, dominion is a concept. You can't find it anywhere. In fact, one of the first places we hear the word dominion came out from the mouth of God. Here. It's a concept that is only found in kingdoms. And your God is a king. Whenever there is a kingdom government, that's where, am I talking in House of Refuge? How many of you are getting something? Okay, now you see, all the teaching, what we're doing here is kingdom training. It's completely contradistinct to how you have been raised or where you're coming from. So I don't have any problem. First, if you don't submerge and stay with it, it can't hold. And sometimes it might not make meaning. So dominion was the original idea of salvation. What Jesus Christ brought salvation is what Adam received as dominion. Salvation from what? All right, salvation. All right. For we know the grace of Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, he became poor, that you might become rich. So salvation saves you from poverty. Right? Salvation, who himself on the tree carries your iniquity, that you being dead to sin might live unto righteousness. By his stripes you were healed. So salvation saves you from sickness. Are you hearing what I'm talking about? Same thing. This dominion is also, am I talking in House of Refuge? All right. So the concept of dominion is the idea. So before we needed Jesus to come and save us, we were saved by a gift called dominion. What salvation is what dominion is in the Old Testament. Now look at it. Because dominion is a concept only found. I have 11 minutes. I have a lot of. How many of you are glad you're in church? It's a concept that is only found in the kingdom. You have to understand how kingdom works. The reason why we're struggling here is that, in fact, we've never even tried to learn. There's a way kingdom works. Whenever a king wants to protect a citizen, all right, or wants to save, somebody say save. Come on, talk to me. Somebody say save. When a king wants to save his citizen, remember, when you have a king, kings own everything. When you're in a kingdom under the jurisdiction of a king, nobody owns anything, only the king. All right. So when in the kingdom, the king wants to save you from hunger, from starvation, from poverty. All right. What the king does to the citizen is that he grants the citizen some of his land or his estate. He gives him as a gift. The giving of the land or the estate is dominion. So what happened is that because none of the people that are in the land have rights, almost everybody in the land have no right to the wealth that is locked in the land. Now, for any land within the territory of the king, there are wealth locked in it. And you're not the one that put it there. It's God that put it there. It's not your toil that created the wealth. No, it's locked in it. It's owned by the king. So when a king wants to save you from poverty, he knows that the only way you can be delivered from poverty is for you to have dominion, is for a land to be given to you so that you can go and unlock the wealth that is buried in the land. That's why even in Jesus, when you become born again and you have salvation, you can die not unlocking what is buried inside salvation. Am I talking here? I say, am I talking here? So the king has to grant to the person as a gift in order to allow the man or the people to go into the land and begin to excavate and pull out the wealth that is buried in the land. That's why when he allowed the kingdom in the inside of you, nobody will excavate it but you. All right, now this is what happened. Once the people are given the portion of the land or the portion of the dominion of the king, when the king gives you the land, he's giving you dominion. So once you pick up the portion of the dominion or you pick up the portion of his kingdom, you must discover what is buried in the inside. Inside the land is wealth. That's why when I say that the wealth is in the inside of you, in the inside is, put your hand in your belly and say that everything is in the inside of me. Now watch. So anytime the people are allowed, on the portion of the land, of the dominion, they must discover. The major mistake in church is that you don't discover, you're running after. Not necessarily if I'm running after people. Once they discover their wealth, when you now discover that there is something, then there are about 2 or 3 things that you must do. The first is that you must begin to cultivate it. Number 2, you must begin to turn that thing into something that begins to serve you. If you don't cultivate it and you don't turn it into something that will serve you, then you're going to die. But it's not the king's fault, because the kings had already saved you from poverty by giving you the land, and inside the land is locked the wealth. Gosh. Come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. I said, come on, put your hands together. These 2 things is actually the secret to possessing your kingdom, or to possessing your kingdom wealth. And it is when it begins to serve you, because if it is coming based on the dominion of the king, it will not cease. So it's going to fund your dream. If you don't find it, your pocket, your salary can't. So when he gives you the dominion, in the dominion, am I talking here? When he gives you the dominion, he is giving you salvation. He's saving you from poverty. In fact, that will, whenever you see somebody on drugs, addicted, is because he has never gotten dominion that he can walk on. When you have dominion and you are walking on, you don't even have time, because this can save you from drug addiction. In fact, it can save you from even going to school. That's why you could see somebody that has gotten the dominion of God. Some never even went to school. Some, while they were in school and they have found the dominion, they came out of school. Gosh, am I talking here? I say, am I talking here? Now, but I have 5 minutes. But you have to understand. So when it begins to, fund your purpose and then cause you to escape the survival game, or what we call the rat race. If you don't find it, you'll be in the survival race. You'll always be waiting for the end of the month. You will struggle. Now, why is the king doing that? The king has a motivation. And the motivation of our king, which is God, is always the expansion of his kingdom. Very important. Make sure you write it. The motivation of our king. That's why it pleases the Father to give you. Is the expansion, of the kingdom. So he wants to give it to us. He's not holding wealth from you. He's not holding. No, he wants to. Adam, let us make man. Let them have. Pleases the Father to give you the kingdom. It's a motivation. The kingdom has to expand. So he put it in the inside of you. Now watch. When he gives you your own portion of the kingdom called dominion, You are delivered from competition. Because you don't walk somebody else's dominion. You only walk your own dominion. And so you must be able to receive your own dominion or your calling and begin to cultivate who God made you to be. When you don't cultivate who God made you to be, you see, you have to be first. Before you do, then you have. Now watch. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, your wealth is in the inside of you. Okay, now you see this statement, you have never heard, it's contrary to your thinking. Because you think that your wealth is outside, you have to go, no. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor. Say, hey, neighbor, your wealth is inside you. Come on, put your hands together. I say, come on, put your hands together. But the wealth that is inside you is in a form. We call it a raw form. All right. A wealth can be in the inside of you and you will never discover it up to the time you die. All right. So when a wealth is in the inside of you, there are three things that must happen. I've already mentioned. You must first of all discover it. Number two, you must develop it. Number three, you must deploy it. In fact, what is in the inside of you becomes bigger when you deploy. When you're giving 5, you must discover that you have. Then develop it and then transact, deploy it. You deploy it to the world. It is when you deploy it to the world, that's when what is in the inside of you begins to become valuable to you. Because what is in the inside of you as of present is potential, and it can work and help anybody. No one can be blessed with potential that is trapped in the inside of you. You can sell it. You can serve it to the market. You can market it to people. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, there's wealth in the inside of you. Yeah. When you talk about potential, basically, potential, when you look at it, potential is worthless. It must become a reality before it becomes valuable to anybody. All right. Something to note out of all that I said. Give me that note. Now watch. When a king, please give me that. When a king wants to save someone from lack, good. I want you to write this. Go and rehearse it. Some of you, you're looking for deliverance from wealth and you're looking for... No. Look at, when a king wants to save someone from lack, what the king does, based on what I said, is that he gives him a wasteland. And then that person must go into it and then sell out for it. And then focus his whole life in it so that he can possess it. If you don't possess it, you cannot experience it. Because if you don't create it in the inside, you can't have it on the outside. Am I talking here? I say, am I talking here? Okay, now somebody said that, how do you know? Now look at how Jesus talks. Give me Matthew 13 and verse 14. My time is up. How many of you are blessed you're in church? Yeah. No. You see, when you're doing kingdom teaching, you take your time. It's not just information. Now look at it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure. Where is the treasure hidden? In a field. Then when a man found it, look at what he sells out for it. He is excited. And then he goes and sells everything that he has. And then he possesses the place. Look at that first statement. his salvation from poverty and lack is in the field, but it's tied to what he does. So the kingdom, when the kingdom is in the inside of you, your attitude, if the kingdom is going to supply the wealth and everything is tied to the attitude, what are you sold out to eat? Look at it. He sells everything, and have you possessed it? Have you seeked it? Same concept. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure. Okay, so when a king wants to save you, he gives you a portion. Same. So a portion is given, and this guy goes, and then there is a treasure. When he sees that he sells everything, cut every focus, anything that will distract, he cut it off, and then concentrated, because he knows that this thing can supply everything that he needs and can supply for his vision. Come on, put your hands. I say, come on, put your hands together. In fact, when you make it now, so the treasure is in the inside of you. There are treasure in earthen vessels. But guess what? You are not concentrating on the inside, you're running on the outside. And guess what? Look at how casual you are. Some of you, you don't have Bible, you don't have translation, you don't have books, you're not in a good teaching, you're not in church, you just don't know. Nothing that excavates it, you're not giving to it. So you left it dormant, and then you are now running after survival. Application. But the kingdom, you are not seeking. Because what this guy is doing is what God said. And when he seeks it, worry is cut off from his life. Because everything that he desires and is looking for, am I talking here? Everything that he sold, this thing can give him double for his trouble. Come on, put those hands together. I say, come on, put your hands together. My time is up. I say, come on, put your hands together. I say, come on, put your hands together. You see, if the kingdom is not supplying, basically, it's because, now, before I sit down, wow. You see, Hebrew, when they write in pictures. All right. Now, the word take dominion has a picture. And this is the picture that it has. It has actually a picture, or image of a man going deep into the forest to extract honey from a beehive. Okay, now watch. Let's deal with this thing. Is he the one that walked out the honey? No. It's a treasure the honey created for him inside a field. So when the Bible said that have dominion is the wealth, you don't work for it, it's already created for you. So the man now has to develop skills and strategy. He has to create path that can get him to the beehive. He has to create strategy that he can move the bees using smoke without destroying the bees. So that even when he extracts the treasure, the bees will continue to create it for him. And then he has to create a path not to destroy what was created for him. Not what he created. No, it was created for him. It was made for him. But it was given to him as a dominion. So all he needs to do is to seek first. Find how, the ways in which he can get the treasure. Am I talking here? The honey. But the honey, he's not the one that created it. Just like the five, you're not the one, okay? But you have to be able to also know that when you are getting the treasure, you create ways so that the treasure doesn't also destroy you. Because there are some people in looking for the treasure have shipwrecked their life. Come on, put your hands together. And then you also have to, because once you get it, then this thing cannot just only supply you, it can also supply anybody that is around you. when you read take dominion, that's the picture in Hebrew that is given. If you're poor, it's because you have never excavated the treasure. Why? The kingdom is in the inside of you. You're so encumbered about many things. You have never found out his ways for healing, his ways for wealth, his ways for peace. You have never found out. And some, in going after money, they just destroy their lives. Now watch. The man was not the one that created the bee, nor was he the one that made. All that he needed to do is to receive what the bees made for him. Am I talking here? Come on, put your hands together. And that's exactly what the woman with the issue of blood, there's nothing that she could do. All she needed to do is to find out ways in which you can get a technology to hook up in what was already made for her, which is healing. Come on, put your hands together. And once she get it, I actually was thinking I would help you with Psalms. As I muse, the fire burns, then my mouth speaks. In Psalm said that my heart grew hot. Then as I muse, the fire burns and my mouth speaks. The reason why you're not getting answers and things is because the process is not in place. You see, when your heart gets hot, your heart gets hot when you come in contact with the word of the kingdom. How do I know? Jesus on the road to Emmaus, when he was talking to them, look at what they said. No wonder when he was talking to us, our heart grew hot. Okay, you see, the major problem is that when you meet the word of God and you come in cross of a revelation and it begins to warm your heart, you stop there. That cannot produce to you what is already made for you. You have to move it to the place where it becomes fire. And it becomes fire by meditation. As I muse, that's why God said that don't eat any animal that doesn't regurgitate. It's a principle of the kingdom. Cow, they regurgitate 24 hours. So they eat, they gather. That's where they become warm. Then they sit down and they regurgitate. They take a word and chew the cord, regurgitate. When you chew it, it becomes hot. It is in that place of becoming hot that the technology to tap into what is already for you is being built. Faith. And faith has a language. That's what happened to the woman. She was seated, somebody came and started broadcasting to her the word of the kingdom. Then her heart becomes hot. First level. Nobody told us how long she took, but she now moved to fire. How do you move to fire? Some of you, you're too quick and too fast, and your phone is an enemy to your fire. Your TV. So nothing that you speak happens. The reason is because whatever is spoken from fire create the answer. But you never have fire. And you cannot have fire without meditation. Come on, put your hands together. You're too busy. You never sit down. You don't stay 24 hours. So when she was musing, it becomes hot. Then Psalm says, I don't know, is it Psalms 3:9 or something like that in NIV? I will talk about this on Sunday. And then my mouth speak. No devil in hell can stop a word that is coming from when your heart is warm and from the place of fire. So if I only but touch, that's her faith talking. But the faith is talking from the place of certainty, from the musing of the word. The process in which she does that is the seeking of the kingdom. That's when she now knows where the treasure is. Because wherever God is, the treasure is, the kingdom is, the power is, the wealth is, the healing is. My time is up. And that's why you need a good church. And look at what Jesus Christ said. Just say that. Hey, my power has healed her. No, that's where the church are making mistake. So testimony. When Papa said the anointing of the Papa, you know you don't. That's why you are missing it. Even Jesus did not say, my power healed her. This is what he said. He said, woman, your faith, come on, am I talking here, has caused you to receive what is already yours even before you arrive. Come on, put your hands together if you understand. I said, come on, put your hands together if you understand. I said, come on, put your hands together. You're following TV. Canada do the bandage, the banner. Baby, you better stay in the place of music. Get something that you can take what is already yours and created for you. Come on, put those hands together. Shout! I said, shout! Your faith cannot be denied. Your faith can always give it to you. Your faith can create. Lift up your hand and say, yeah. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you, because his face to shine over you. It pleases the Father to give you the kingdom. Wealth is yours. Power is yours. Healing is yours. Health is yours.